Hello guys, there was a developer live stream on Friday the 24th, and I wanted to talk about a couple of stuff because the global version got a roadmap update as well. As you can see here, for the big stuff, Korea, August 28th, we're getting Hyper Awakening and Hyper Awakening Road Express event, which we'll talk about in a bit. September, we're getting Broshaza Raid, normal is going to be 1670 and hard is going to be 1690. New Chaos Guardians and at 1680 as well. In October is going to be the Music Box Season 3, and I heard Gold River worked on one of them too. For global, the immediate update, you have a Khan, Echidna, and Theamite nerfs. In September 11th, you guys are getting Behemoth Raid at 1620 eye level. This is pretty huge because you get to work on your Weapon Transcendence a little earlier, because the Weapon Transcendence gives you additional 3525 weapon power. It's pretty good too. The thing I don't know for sure is if Behemoth Raid is tier 3 and it gives you guys tier 3 materials. For Korea, it's 1640 eye level for Behemoth and it gives us tier 4 materials. So I don't know how that's going to be, but having this content a little bit earlier might be better. I'm not sure how exactly this works because it's a new thing for the West only. Maybe in the future when tier 4 drops, Behemoth Raid can be changed into 1640 eye level so that they can farm tier 4 mats. And for those of you who don't know, getting full transcendence on the weapon, it will take you 7 weeks if you keep buying bonus loot, and it'll be 6 weeks if you buy the auction box once. So coming back to the dev livestream, there's a couple things that he talked about in the very beginning. And one of the topic was the field boss one, where people were complaining about the enlightenment potion. This particular enlightenment potion gives you 5 points, and then you need to kill the field boss for it. And a lot of people didn't get it. And at worst case scenario, if you have bad RNG, you were 7 to 8% weaker than someone who actually has this. So a lot of people are angry about that. And at the dev livestream, director actually talked how there is a pity system for this particular thing, and it takes about 6 weeks of killing it every day. So it'll be 6 times 3 and 18 times. So if you kill the field boss 18 times, you're guaranteed to actually receive this potion. So even though there's pity for it, there are people angry about it because 1, they didn't know, and 2, putting this kind of very important mandatory power spike to a simple RNG is actually a bad idea. So from there, the director did talk about how they're going to be more careful on adding certain things. So hopefully when the West gets this particular RNG field boss thing, it might be better, but who knows? So we'll probably have to wait until October to see. And as for arc passive, as you guys may know, some of the arc passive classes get really good arc passive buffs, and some classes actually get shackles, and their playstyle gets harder even if their damage got increased a little bit. Director did say they will look into it more instead of the data, and they did say they will update it before Broshaza Raid. So we'll probably have to wait and then see what will happen after. And as for small fun data stuff, 3 weeks ago, only 5% had arc passive open. 2 weeks ago, 36% of the people had arc passive open. And last week, 71% had arc passive open. So we actually have a lot of people that have arc passives open. And as for balances and as for information, we will probably have more information coming forth. And the topic after that, he talked about 1600 to 1620. As you guys may know, 1600 to 1620 is a really bad dead zone. And even if you achieve 1620, you need to do elixirs and you need to do transcendence. It's actually a really bad experience for new players. And let's say you're 1620, if you transfer to 1640, even if your eye level jumps up by 20 by transferring to T4 armor, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're much stronger. There was a severe issue where the new player just can't participate in raids. And I'm pretty sure you guys have the same problem for 1600 and 1620 as well. So from this, the director did say they're going to release additional events and additional expresses. So for example, they're going to release something called the Hyper Awakening Road, where you can choose one character that is in between 1600 to 1620. And for these challenges, it's exactly like Theamite Road, where you just... So from here, it seems like you just beat Voldees, doesn't matter if it's solo mode or party. And then for here, if you beat Theamine, they give you additional fire. As for text tier, we'll probably have to see when it comes out next week. They did say they're going to give us like an elixir that will help you for a 40 set. So this is something that is not unique as like, like boss damage or the unique set bonus attributes. This is something like, let's say, a 5 stagger and then like 5 attack power. Maybe they will give us something like that, so we can use it as a jump pad to finish 40 set really easily. And as for transcendences, it's going to help you to get up to 3. So if you have something like this, a 40 set and a level 3 transcendence all over, you're actually pretty strong enough to do most of the content at that eye level. And Behemoth itself, even at 1640 eye level for Korea, 16 people with just a 40 set is enough damage to actually defeat the boss. So in this case, when the new Korean players come in, they will have additional events so that they don't have to be stuck doing elixirs and stuck doing transcendences, and they're going to be blocked to a point where they can't really progress. So to me, this is actually a really good thing. Next week, I'll probably have to apply this to a character that I have to see exactly what you get. So we'll probably see that next week. So we're getting Hyper Awakening next week, and Hyper Awakening is basically a better version of Awakening. And as they can explain here, you can only use this once. So I'm assuming you can use it once per battle, so like once per gate. And if you fill up your meter, you can actually use Alt V to activate Hyper Awakening. In between, you're probably using your regular awakening, and then you're fighting, and then you fill up your meter. You have an option to use Hyper Awakening just once. And on the side, you also have a Hyper Awakening skill, which is a T skill over here, but they did say they can switch hotkeys if you want to. And as for Hyper Awakening, they did say synergies and buffs don't matter, so you can use it whenever you want for like a big damage opportunity. And as a side note, the Hyper Awakening skills, which is the T skill, the cooldown is very, very long. And as for supports, apparently there's going to be additional benefits if supports use it. So when we get this, we'll probably look into it a little bit further in detail to see what kind of stuff that we get. And as for trailers, they did release a trailer for all the Hyper Awakening. So if you guys are interested, I will probably link the official video in the description. And as for Leap, this is the third category for Arc Passive, and this is Bracelets. So whenever we get Bracelets from Broshaza, Relic ones at normal and Ancient ones at hard, the points you allocate it so that you can upgrade your Hyper Awakenings and Hyper Awakening skill. And if you have enough points, you can actually access tier 2 stuff, and apparently the tier 2 stuff is going to change animation effects like a tripod. So it's pretty exciting to see what kind of new stuff that we can get after. We also finally have the Trixian stuff updated to the new Arc Passive thing, so we can actually do some research. Whenever the West get this, hopefully you guys get this at the same time as tier 4 releases so that you guys can test out different builds, because right now there's not enough information. Can't really test out different builds because I have to go back and forth between Trixian and so on and so forth. So therefore, since Trixian is updated, it's going to be much easier for us to test out things. So for those of you who are wondering about this, the pet attribute thing is basically you just teach the pets to learn how to farm, etc., all this stuff. So you can actually teach the pets, set them to attributes so that you can make more fusion materials, or you have a high chance to make great success on Feast. So this is more of a crafting related thing instead of combat related. So continuing, this is also really big too. In addition to Elixir and Transcendence event, they're going to adjust Elixirs and they're going to adjust Transcendences. They should have done this like long time ago, but at least it's better late than never. Basically for Elixirs, if you do a solo mode or if you do normal, you will still get legendary elixirs. He did say you will get less of it, but you are going to work on legendary elixirs. I'm assuming that they're going to delete epic as a whole. And as for legendary elixirs, they did adjust the level into 1600. So let's say you're 1600, you can work on legendary elixirs at the same time as working on your eye levels and hopefully transcendence when you hit 1610. So it will feel a little bit more comfortable on progression. And as for Transcendences, there was a problem where you need to defeat Theamine Gate 2 and 3 on hard mode in order for you to open Transcendence 4 and Transcendence 7. The change is even if you finish on normal mode, you should be able to access Transcendence 4 and 7. So basically these additional walls that the new players are experiencing are all broken up, and it's going to be much easier for people to do. And lastly, this is the Behemoth Trade NPC, and they're going to adjust the amount of elixirs and amount of dark fires you can get with Behemoth Scale. Basically, this is the NPC for the Behemoth Raid. You trade these scales to buy dark fires, or you trade these scales to get some elixirs. So they're going to adjust the amount that you can actually get, so you can actually farm these very easily when you're a new player. So the thing is, since Global is going to release this at 1620, I actually don't know if they're getting the benefit of like better trade. But the raid itself being 1620 is actually super good because you will get additional scales by just doing the raid, and then you should have options to trade more elixirs and more dark fires instead of working on your weapon transcendence. The raid is actually super simple, and you get to have more rewards to actually work on elixirs and transcendences. And you can actually get additional mats as well. And as for us, they do give you tier 4 mats. I actually don't know how it's going to be for global, because since Behemoth is going to give you tier 3 stuff. Alright, and additionally, some of the stuff that they're going to adjust is Echidna is going to be at 1640, so I don't know if she's going to have like a HP boost or something, so we probably have to see what's going to happen. And as for co-op mechanics, I said they're going to nerf it, so the stuff that I was thinking of was, you know, the mirror mech, maybe that's going to get nerfed. During basement, maybe the full meter one where you defend yourself from snakes, maybe that's going to be nerfed. But the fact that she's going to be 1640, she's going to drop tier 4 mats. So I don't know, in the future, maybe Echidna will be adjusted to 1640 for the global version as well to have additional content that can actually drop T4 mats. Because again, Behemoth is going to be 1620 for you guys. I actually don't know what additional content that you guys will get to farm T4 mats because you guys don't have it at the release of tier 4. So maybe I'm completely missing something. Maybe someone in the comments can help me understand what the plan is going to be for global. Moving on, for single mode, they're going to adjust difficulties as well. As director was talking about, obviously the gimmick and mechanic is going to be even easier. And as for classes, some classes take much longer. Obviously, the supports do. So the buffs that you can actually select for supports doing solo mode, they're going to be adjusted so that they can clear a little faster compared to DPS classes. So as for people who are enjoying single mode, maybe this is going to be easier for Korea too. And for generic QOL stuff, we have like card awakening, guild stuff, and pet stuff. We'll probably have to see when the actual update happens. As for new things that's coming out in September, they're going to bring in PvP again. I'm probably not going to be playing PvP, but this is more of a roster versus roster stuff, which is interesting for PvP enjoyers. And coming back to the Kazaros raid, the second chapter for Broshaza, you're basically getting ancient materials for ancient armor. And material for ancient armor is important, as you can see I have 5 pieces. And each pieces do give you 20 points of arc passive. So if you have full pieces, you get to have 120, which you can allocate every single points for arc passive. So this is a complete arc passive build for a character that has all 5 pieces. And when Broshaza comes out, she's going to be 1670 and 1690, and Egir is 1660 and 1680. So if you're 1670, you can actually work on 2 pieces at once based on how much materials that Broshaza will give you. But people who are coming back, they'll be able to make ancient pieces much faster. So when I saw this particular thing, I thought maybe 1670 is a really good spot to aim for so that you can do Egir normal and Broshaza normal and slowly switch to ancient armor and then work on your eye level to actually access hard mode for both of the content. The only downside is you won't be able to use ancient accessories because ancient accessories are 1680, but again, like I said on a couple of videos, you can open arc passive with just relic accessories, and as long as you're level 70, you should be able to open up to tier 3 and select a little bit of side nodes. And since the director did say they're going to add a new farming system called Karma, whereas you can use stones to actually upgrade with a chance at RNG to give you more damage or enlightenment points. He didn't mention enlightenment points, so maybe you can actually access tier 4 nodes even if you have all relic accessories. So the growth does feel a little bit more linear now, because in the past when the season 3 kind of felt like there were a little bit of holes, like from 1660 to 1680 took a lot of money and a lot of materials, and there was nothing in between. And Broshaza kind of slot things in between so that we can actually grow our characters linearly without too much resources being spent. So from looking at this, I guess the 3 eye level goal could be 1660, 1670, and 1680. And if you're 1660, you can still slowly work on getting all your ancient armors to open up arc passive. 1670, you can access Broshaza, so the content would be Broshaza, Egir, and Behemoth for technically us. And as for 1680, you can get ancient accessories, so you can farm those, you can gamble ancient accessories, and since Korea is going to get 1680 chaos dungeons as well, 1680 is a really good level to aim for. But as for global, if I was a global player, maybe I wouldn't be aiming for 1680, but instead I guess I would go 1660 to play Egir normal and then progress a little bit slowly. But in the end, as I always talk about during live streams when people ask these kind of stuff, it is ultimately up to you, and it's based on your honing luck as well. When Season 3 is coming nearby for global players, I am probably gonna make like another chit chat video on what to aim for, what to watch out for, what to prepare for eye levels, accessories, arc passive, etc. Because I did make a lot of mistake, so optimization is pretty important on Season 3. So as of now, I think if I'm a player, I would be carefully just using bound mats and spend your resources at a conservative level. And lastly, as for bound gold, I didn't really find a point where the director said something about bound gold, but a lot of people are assuming that bound gold is something that is not going to exist in Korea. A lot of people are just expecting that bound gold will not exist. So this is actually pretty interesting because the global version is getting bound gold. So right now, it really feels like the game is being adjusted to market. And I think this is good because people have different markets and user behavior is different per market as well. So those are the stuff that I kind of wanted to talk about. Obviously, next week we'll probably have to see how the Hyper Awakening is going to be and some of the exchanges the Echidna raid, etc. is going to have. And as for global versions, you guys are getting the nerf as well. So we'll probably have to see how the things changes. So with that, I kind of want to end a little bit of chit chat video here. I hope you guys liked it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments, and I would appreciate to know the additional information that the global version has. For example, like I actually don't know how Behemoth is going to work for you guys. If I'm missing anything from any videos or stuff, I would appreciate if I can learn more what some of the exact changes you guys are going to get. As always, thanks guys. Bye-bye.